Maybe, Nancy, you want to tell them exactly what a trigger is. What does it mean?
Well, for me, it's a feeling.
But what does it indicate? If you triggered, it indicates that you have what?
You've got pain. You've got something going on underneath you that's hurting. It's
unhealed.
It's an unresolved emotional trauma. Okay, we're not talking about trauma as in going to hospital trauma. We're talking about emotional trauma. Now, with the awareness as a parent, we expect our kids. There's so much that we expect our kids, and that's fine. We live in a society today that's so different. I mean, I look at my kids and I think, I slightly feel sorry for you. Now, let's be honest. I would not want to be a kid in this day and age.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm going to be really honest, and I think most parents would agree.
And why?
Because there's too much of influence on the outside. Everything happens on the outside. There's no one saying what's going on the inside. We're so controlled by AI, social media, what our peers think, standards that we should meet up to, people that we should look like. Am I a boy or a girl? I mean, for me, that for me would be so emotionally
taxing,
like really traumatic for a child to figure out, hey, am I a boy or a girl?
Yeah.
There's just so many things on the outside. What we're saying today, and what we want to try and hit home with, is you parent from your traumas. You parent from your emotional trauma. Now, you might think, no, I don't. How's that possible? Well, it is possible, because unless you've cleared up emotional trauma, you will spend the rest of your life clearing it up. You will. You spend the rest of your life, you'll be triggered all the time. I mean, Louise Hay was triggered in her 90s? 89. And she was 89. So you will always be triggered. It's how you handle the trigger that makes the difference.
Or can I say, if you triggered, you become aware that you're triggered. And if you've got the understanding and the knowledge that we're going to share, or that we get the awareness of in Love Yourself, Heal Your Life 2-day workshop, you don't just get triggered and triggered and triggered. You get triggered and you say, hey, what is the unhealed part of me that got, like, if you've got a small sore and someone touches it, it's like, ouch.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't heal the wound, and then you can do this a month later, it's fine. But if you don't heal the wound and it gets infected and it never heals, then you put a bigger bandage on it. And then eventually, there's like in the book, The Untethered Soul, you put a structure here with a box around your arm that no one can touch it. And then someone bumps that and it's even still sore. Then you make a bigger. Eventually, you live in a house, no one can come in, you don't go out, and your world gets smaller and smaller and smaller because you are unhealed. So trigger is just that unhealed part of us. So it is an opportunity to say, where did this begin? And
got a good thing coming, and it's all I need. Everything I wanted is in front of me. Stuck it up in the dark, sun is shining over me. I got a good thing coming, just wait and see. It's a good.
Welcome to the Coaching Corner. This week, myself and Nancy are going to be talking about a sensitive topic maybe for some parents, I'm not sure. But it's stop blaming your kids and take responsibility. So we've got quite a few things to discuss on the show today. First of all, I want to just say welcome to you, Nancy.
Hello, everyone, and hi, Jay.
Hi. All right, so on the topic of stop blaming your kids and take responsibility, it may sound a bit harsh. At the end of the day, children are a product of the product. So they're part of the parents. So Nancy and I both Love Yourself, Heal Your Life workshop leaders, and we've run several workshops, about 4 a year, maybe 1 year we did even 5, since 2022. And we've seen human beings are pretty much the same, but everyone's slightly different. And what we mean by that is we all have unhealed emotional wounds, every one of us. And Nancy's always, you hear her saying, whether you're in the class with us or whether you're on our radio show, you'd hear Nancy always say, if you don't heal, you'll bleed on others. So when unhealed parents have children and they don't heal their own inner child wounds, they bleed on their kids, and then their kids have got unhealed wounds themselves, and they have issues like self-rejection, poor self-worth, self-image, people-pleasing, whatever they're struggling with. And I don't want to call it dysfunction, but there's no other word that I really have at the moment to say, if there's dysfunction from the leadership of the parents flow down, the children are going to have issues as well with dealing with the emotional regulation and how they interact between person and friends and family, school, whether they're starting to work. So this is the topic for today. So maybe kick off. We're going to talk about some things that the children struggle with, and we're going to talk about the children here because we're actually doing a Heal Your Life for Teens workshop, and we do run Heal Your Life for Teens. If you've got any questions, please contact us and we'll share more information. And teens need it. Don't you agree, Nance? Now more than ever, children really do need healing. Of course, the parents do too, but let's just talk about this day and age and the kids.
Yeah, definitely. And I think on the back of what we spoke about last week about anger and how I was very passionate about, children are angrier than they've ever been, you know, and there's a lot going on in social media, gaming, and we spoke about that. If you listen to the show that we first did about anger, you'll understand that that does play a part in it. But it's also the fact that as parents, when we, and this is, please understand, there is no criticism here.
No judgment.
No judgment, all right? You're not here to judge yourself. We're not here to criticize you, and you're not here to criticize yourself. In fact, that's one of the things that we do teach children or teens when they do come to a class is to stop all criticism. When you criticize yourself, you're criticizing others as well. There's no doubt about it. If you're criticizing yourself, you're definitely criticizing others.
And if I may just say, the term we use is non-judgmental self-awareness. Yeah. So we want us to be more self-aware, but not with judgment.
Yeah, 100%. So I think Heal Your Life, or let's just start from the beginning. When you're a parent and you've gone through, well, you've decided to have kids, and you raise your child kind of similar to how your parents raised you. Kind of similar. Not
completely different.
All completely different, right? So you've got these two options. If you raise your child like your parents raised you, you'd be quite tough because we're living in a very different world than when we were raised. I mean, I was born 71, so a long time ago. We raise children from our own beliefs, you know, our own judgments, our own trauma, our own pain. We do. We don't know that. It's not conscious. I mean, I don't turn around and say, hey, I'm going to bleed on my kids today. No, it's an automatic thing and it comes out because children will always trigger you. You cannot say, my kids trigger me the most. Hey, I got 4 kids if you just switched on and you haven't seen the one previously, the show previously. I've got 4 children. I love and adore them. I really do. My life wouldn't be the way it is if I didn't have them. But by God, they trigger me. They really do. And I think every time they trigger me,
I don't think you're alone.
Yeah, I think it's an opportunity to see, why am I triggered? What's going on with me? Yeah. And I didn't have that awareness until 2022.
Maybe, Nancy, you want to tell them exactly what a trigger is. What does it mean?
Well, for me, it's a feeling.
But what does it indicate? If you're triggered, it indicates that you have what?
You've got pain. You've got something going on underneath you that's hurting, you know.
You're unhealed.
It's an unresolved emotional trauma. Okay, we're not talking about trauma as in, you know, going to hospital trauma. We're talking about emotional trauma. Now, with the awareness as a parent, we expect our kids. There's so much that we expect our kids, and that's fine. You know, we live in a society today that's so different. I mean, I look at my kids and I think, I slightly feel sorry for you. Now, let's be honest. I would not want to be a kid in this day and age.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm going to be really honest, and I think most parents would agree.
And why?
Because there's too much of influence on the outside. Everything happens on the outside. There's no one saying what's going on the inside. Mm-hmm. We're so controlled by AI, social media, what our peers think, standards that we should meet up to, people that we should look like. Am I a boy or a girl? I mean, for me, that for me would be so emotionally
Taxing.
like really traumatic for a child to figure out, hey, am I a boy or a girl?
Yeah.
There's just so many things on the outside. What we're saying today, and what we want to try and hit home with, is you parent from your traumas. You parent from your emotional trauma. Now, you might think, no, I don't. How's that possible? Well, it is possible, because unless you've cleared up and emotional trauma, you will spend the rest of your life clearing it up. You will. You spend the rest of your life, you'll be triggered all the time. I think Louise Hay was triggered in her 90s.
89.
89. And she was 89. So you will always be triggered. It's how you handle the trigger that makes the difference.
Or can I say, if you triggered, you become aware that you're triggered, and if you've got the understanding and the knowledge that we're going to share, or that we get the awareness of in Love Yourself, Heal Your Life 2-day workshop, you don't just get triggered and triggered and triggered. You get triggered and you say, hey, what is the unhealed part of me that got, like, if you've got a small sore and someone touches it, it's like, ouch.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't heal the wound, and then you can do this a month later, it's fine. But if you don't heal the wound and it gets infected and it never heals, then you put a bigger bandage on it. And then eventually, there's like in the book, The Untethered Soul, you put a structure here with a box around your arm that no one can touch it. And then someone bumps that and it's even still sore. Then you make a bigger. Eventually, you live in a house, no one can come in, you don't go out, and your world gets smaller and smaller and smaller because you are unhealed. So trigger is just that unhealed part of us. So it is an opportunity to say, where did this begin and what am I feeling? It's like someone doesn't answer a text and you get angry. What is that? A rejection wound? Abandonment wound? Feeling unheard? No one notices me? I'm not important? These are things that make us feel triggered, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think acknowledging that you do get triggered. As I said to you, I get triggered by my children all the time. The trigger is less. When I say it's less, you are aware of it, you acknowledge it. So when it does come, it doesn't feel nice, okay? But it is an awareness for you to say, there's some work to be done here. When we start the healing process ourselves and we take responsibility, now this is the key word, taking the responsibility.
How do we do it?
Well, we seek out to learn what it is that's triggering us. If it is an abandonment issue, if we did have a problem with our parents, or having forgiveness for ourselves, working through our emotions, not denying them, and also letting the people around you know this is what you're feeling. Some people don't actually even talk about their emotions, whether it's to their spouse, partner, kids, family, friends, whoever.
So maybe what we can share with the audience is, when children play up, what is really under the surface? So we've made just a couple of notes here. One of the things is self-acceptance. So if a child doesn't accept themselves, please understand, they can't accept their friend, they can't accept their siblings or people in their family, they can't accept themselves. So they continuously need the feeling of acceptance, but it's not inside them. So their world is a lot of outside validation, where they are more and more unvalidated, unless they're getting, for example, likes on social media, approval from friends, notice me, girls want the attention of boys, whatever it may be, because they don't accept themselves. When you accept yourselves, first of all, you attract really good friends and you've got good relationships with everyone, and you stop seeking outside approval. So the behaviors that a child takes to feel accepted could be anything. It could be very risky. If a child wants to feel accepted, if a girl wants to feel accepted, and the only thing that's around her in her vicinity is a guy that's paying a lot of attention to her, and he wants more from her than she's willing to give, but she needs that acceptance so badly she may do things she doesn't want to do. So we're just saying, if you don't have your own self-acceptance, you're looking at it from others, or you're behaving in an inauthentic way, trying to find acceptance from others. Yeah,
absolutely.
What else have you got?
Well, I've got a whole series of things here on my list. We did speak about criticism. I think a child criticizes themselves quite often, especially in comparison. I think
Comparison's the
thief of joy.
again.
The comparison is the thief of joy. Now, we compare ourselves a lot. You think about yourself. If you scroll through the phone as an adult, maybe of an evening or whenever, and you're seeing stuff come up on your feed, and it's like, you know, really attractive women, or maybe they've had their nose done. I'm just speaking on the majority. I don't know. I mean, I look at different things on social media than most people. So you subconsciously are comparing yourself to these people. Now, I know a lot of young women who are quite beautiful, but still say, my nose isn't right. I saw this on social media, or this person's doing this, or this celebrity's doing that. We find that we compare ourselves, and then what happens is we criticize ourselves. So our inner dialogue runs the mind, okay? That thing goes through our mind all day. Now, kids, you can imagine their peers, their friends, what social media is telling us, you know, the games that they play, all of that is contributing to their self-esteem, what they think of themselves, and how critical they can be of themselves is dictated by what's on the outside.
Yeah, and if I may just say, as long as you don't have self-acceptance on the inside, no matter what you get on the outside, truly, even if a person had plastic surgery, the person is never really at a deep level going to feel self-acceptance. The other thing that the child we see struggling today, which healing themselves and their parents' healing would help them, is confidence. So confidence is not the same. What you were saying earlier, children are what but not confident? You use another word.
Cocky.
Say it.
Cocky. Sorry.
Yeah. So
I wonder if YouTube's going to take it down. I don't know. But they are cocky.
Yeah, which is not confidence. That's actually a lack of confidence because you're overcompensating for your insecurities, maybe your lack of self-esteem or your feeling of inferiority. So you come across as cocky to cover up the fact that you don't have any deep down confidence. And I have to just say that confidence is the most important ingredient for a child to grow up in this world being successful. Mm-hmm. It's not so much the experience or their talents or their marks at school or, you know, even their personality can be absolutely amazing. But if the child has no self-confidence deep down inside, they just don't do that, and they just don't do that, and they hold themselves back, and they don't take any risks, and they just stay between the lines. And that's not a way to get out there and live a highly successful life. You've got to be willing to take some risks, take some chances, bet on yourself. If a person's got no confidence, they don't bet on themselves.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think something's got to do with perfectionism and procrastination in that? You see a lot of kids that want to be perfect. There's this perfectionism going around.
And which comes from a deep feeling of shame. Shame leads to perfectionism. So you never really finalize anything. You've got to make it better and better, and even that's not good enough. So the constant feeling is I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
Or what I'm doing is not good enough. The other thing is resilience. So with children, resilience comes from emotional regulation and coping mechanisms. Now, I just want to say a few things for parents. Every parent wants their child to be resilient. And as a Silver Method trainer, this is neuroscience, that emotional regulation and emotional resilience comes from the development of the creative imagination. Now, people never think that, and they never even connect the dots to that. So when children attend the Silver Method, day 3 and 4 is all creative imagination. And the problem with technology today is everything is passive entertainment. The children don't have to create the image in their mind. It's on the screen. When we were children, we had coloring in books. We used to play more outside and imagine the stories, draw, craft, but using the imagination. So for me, I wish parents could understand, get your children off devices and onto imagination play, or get them to visualize. The best thing you can do is teach your children to daydream and to visualize, to help them develop the creative imagination, because as they develop that part of the brain, their emotional resilience is also developed. So I've just got here a note. When it comes to resilience with parents and children, my strongest suggestion is stop rescuing your kids. Stop rescuing them in a crisis. Coach them. Ask them questions. If they're doing the wrong thing, don't give a lot of words. Give them a consequence and set it up beforehand. If this is how you're going to behave, this is the consequence. And let them decide if they're going to do that or that. And then when they haven't done the right thing, they've got to feel the consequence because words don't teach. But rescuing causes the child to realize they get extraordinary amount of attention by being a victim. And then you start introducing this whole victim drama triangle, and the child can grow up their whole lives and remain a victim in this drama triangle. So when we say don't blame your kids, take responsibility, we need to take responsibility, and we need to help our children take responsibility as well. So what we need to do is, instead of rescuing them, help them process the emotions. So you're going to talk about how you help a child process emotions, because I mean, boys were shut down, don't cry. Girls were, don't have a tantrum, don't be too emotional. But really, we need to help children process. So in Heal Your Life, we do
techniques for Heal Your Life for adults, which probably will be a little bit different for teens, because the age group that we teach is 13 to 17. So I would say the most important thing to do is to create a safe space.
Yeah.
If you're at home, create a safe space.
And what does that mean, Nancy?
Well, that means a space that the child can go to
where they're not judged,
where they can feel like you can come to me, I can go to mum or dad for anything. I'm not going to feel judged. I'm not going to feel like they're going to shout at me. I'm not going to feel like they're going to question me. They're going to open up and give me a safe environment where I can feel like it's okay for me to express. It's okay for me to talk. It's okay for me to, voice my concerns, opinions, whatever it is.
Yes.
So that could be a special part in their bedroom. You can create I know a lot of people that have suggested to create like a little hut in the room, like a little safe corner space where the child can go to, and you can go with the child there, and that space provides them a place where they can just open up, just talk.
Yeah, like just be themselves.
Correct. Yeah.
And once they've got a safe space and they can express the emotions, this is the thing. Emotions have to be processed, because the minute we don't process them, we trap them in the body, and they do need an outlet. So if you keep trapping them and then tomorrow something else happens and you trap them again, this is literally the cause of people having disease at age 35, 45, 55, people getting cancer in their middle ages. It doesn't come from that age. It comes from a lifelong journey of trapped emotions. And the other thing is feeling that it's wrong to express their feelings. I don't know where they got that. So if as parents, anyone is listening and you find you don't express your emotions or you don't cry easily, more than anything, you need to do Heal Your Life to be able to freely express your feelings in a healthy way, because children have to learn from what they see. I remember years ago, this discussion about a funeral, and a friend of mine saying they didn't want to take their child to the funeral, and the other friend who was there, who's got children of the same age, said, no, I took my child to the funeral. I wanted my child to see myself cry, my partner cry, other people cry. But then the next day we cry again, maybe a bit less, and then after a week we're much better, and after 2 weeks, and they watched the process of grief unfolding. And she said to her friend, take your child to the funeral. You think you're saving them, but you're actually doing them a disservice, because they can only learn what they see. So when a child is told, don't cry, like boys don't cry, that's probably the worst thing you can say to a boy. It's more like, what are you feeling right now? Yeah. Tell me what you're feeling. Yeah. Try and get it out as words. Yeah.
Quite often with my younger son, he's preteen, I say to him, go up to your room, because I can see the anger building. So you can see it. You know your own child. You know the voice is changing. You can feel their body different. Their body language is different. So I quite often say, I think it's best that you go upstairs and take some time out. And I'm sorry, I encourage my son to punch the pillow. I don't say go punch someone. I say go punch the pillow and release that emotion. And the reason why I say that is because there has to be a place where that child can go and feel safe enough to do it. Otherwise, when he holds it in,
What's he going to do?
yeah, when he holds it in, I can tell you what happens. It's anger. It's full-blown anger, and it's like doesn't stop. There's like no end. It's complaining, whining, but angry. So when we do that, we're not teaching our kids to release in the right way. We're teaching them to hold it in and then bleed on others. So what happens is, potentially, if that doesn't get dealt with at a young age, here we have a 19, 20-year-old that gets angry at everything. Gets angry at the traffic, gets angry when things don't go his way, gets angry at his boss, gets angry when he has to do a particular job. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's not healthy. There's nothing about that that's healthy because they don't learn it's okay to express your emotions. You know, I'm not asking them to go and punch a person out, but we are saying that you've got to move the body. Now, if they don't want to punch a pillow, a great opportunity for kids is taekwondo or going to the gym and punching a punching bag. But you've got to release the energy, especially boys. They hold a lot of testosterone, right? So they've got a lot of energy going on there, more than girls.
Yep. Then there's an area that I actually don't know the exact answers, but it's how do we get children? Because every one of us, I mean, John Maxwell talks about this in his leadership books. Everybody is selfish. You're all born selfish. If you don't believe that, take a toy, the favorite toy away from a 2-year-old, and you'll see. And they're not going to say, oh, no, that's okay. You go and play with my toy. Yes, the child has like a meltdown or shows their dissatisfaction with the whole thing. So when we talk about emotional things and emotional engagement with our children, it's probably the most valuable conversation we can have. But we as parents need to have the highest self-awareness. So we first need to ask ourselves, am I modeling the right behavior, first of all? So, and if I'm not, best I go heal my inner child wounds before I can try to correct a kid. Because an unhealed person trying to correct the kids, all you're going to do is try to dominate them and be autocratic and like positional leadership, just force kids like the military. That's not a way to grow up as a healthy, emotionally regulated human being. So self-awareness is the first thing. And then to recognize selfishness in yourself and to talk about selfishness in your kids. I think one of the most difficult things is to teach children to be kind, share, and be unselfish. Now, you don't want to also go too far down that road, because let's be honest, as adults, I'm not going to say to anyone, hey, go take my car. You know, I must share my car now with everyone. Everyone goes drive my car. No, I don't even let people drive my car. So we say to kids, share that toy with your friend, share that toy. Okay, I don't agree with all of that. But when we're talking about selfishness, is how do you teach, I don't know, Nancy, if you have the answers, how do you teach a child to have consideration, to be unselfish, that all the world revolves around them? No, it doesn't. It revolves around everyone in this house, and maybe your sibling is sick, maybe they need a bit of quiet while they're sleeping, or maybe, you know, why can't we go out and do this thing? Well, someone in the house isn't feeling well. Or the best example is when the mother is not feeling well, how the children just think there's something wrong. There's something wrong here. Yeah. Mom's not cooking, being there for me. How do we get children to see that?
Yeah, Jay, I think there's a few things that you can do. So number one, I would hold from very young, family meetings are really important, okay? And the reason why we hold family meetings is that everyone gets an opportunity to express and talk, and of course parents...
Hey, please just share with them how you get a chance for everyone to talk. You have a...
Oh, well, I've got a little methodology. I have a talking rock. So we have a particular rock at home. I bring it downstairs, and while the person is holding the rock, no one is allowed to talk. Once the rock has been passed on to the next person, then that person can talk and so forth. But one of the great things is that I come with an agenda, okay, and it's always about something that I've learned too. There's always a teaching point in there. But we give the opportunity for our kids to, from a young age, to see what it's like to sit around a table, because in many opportunities in life, you're going to be presented with the same thing. You're going to be maybe in a corporate, you're going to be in a boardroom meeting, you're going to have to, you know, wait for that person, and that person's got to talk and you've got to wait your turn. And so that's a great example in setting that kind of, that feature kind of thing for the kids to understand. Another thing is values. I'd have to say that that's one of the greatest ways that you can teach your kids what you will and won't tolerate and what your values are. So one of my values, I'm a woman of faith, so God is my number one value, okay? But another value of mine is loyalty. Another value of mine is honesty. Another value of mine is compassion and caring. Now, when I express that to my kids and I ask them, what are your values? What do you consider? And I maybe give them a values test, they can fill it out. Then I get to understand, we all get to make sure that we're on the same table. As a family, it's really important to have the same values.
Absolutely, because values is what keeps you together in a relationship, in a friendship, in a job, with a company, with a brand. If you fall out of your values alignment with a brand, you'll never use that brand again. Yeah, that's excellent. And I think when you create a family meeting setting, the importance is raised, the importance is emphasized, that we're talking about things in a different way. We're actually coming together for a very specific purpose. And I think the best way to get people to become self-aware and to change behavior, you have to be specific. You can't just say, oh, you're so selfish, you've got to be more considerate. You've got to say, that day when your dad was very ill and he was trying to have an afternoon sleep because he was so unwell and you were making a racket in the house, it's inconsiderate. So it's a specific example. That day, this event, what happened, or whatever it may be. So I really
another great idea would be to continuously talk about certain things that are happening all around us. Okay, so the fact that the world doesn't revolve around us, there are things happening in the world, there are people that are suffering in the world. Coming from that angle helps. Now, I'm not saying that you have to tell them everything. I don't watch the news. I haven't watched the news since 9/11, okay? So I don't even choose to watch TV on that front, and neither do my kids. But giving them an awareness that their little world here in this house is not all there is. There's a whole other range. Now, I'm going to talk about this, and you can skip this if you're not a person of faith, but I think prayer is really important with gratitude. I think there's an element of being grateful for what you have, okay, and teaching your child to be extremely grateful and thankful for what you have. And prayer for us is, because I'm a woman of faith, that's one of my go-tos as well, to teach empathy and compassion, even just taking the time out to go with them shopping to buy maybe blankets or scarves, like we did a winter appeal, and them seeing the fact that you're buying something for those that are less fortunate than you.
You're doing something to reach out. Yeah, absolutely. I remember when my younger brother was about 4 years old, I took him for a drive in the car in Johannesburg through one of the most poor suburbs, and his eyes went this big. He looked out the window and he kept saying, why are these homes so sad looking? Why? And I said, no, these people are really poor. Then he saw them walking around. They were barefoot. He said, why don't they have shoes? I said, they really are poor. And then he was going, oh, I'm so sorry for these people. Can we help them? Can we give them things? Can we give them money? Can we give them shoes? In that moment, he got home after that experience and he was like, I'm so happy I have my dog, and I'm so happy I've got a bed, and I'm so happy that we have everything. We even have a car that people don't even. So to give them the experience of third world, to let them see how blessed they are in first world is really one way. Yep. So to try to bring this together, there's saying don't blame your kids, take responsibility. We're talking about things like self-awareness of our own inner child wounds, and when we get triggered and beat on our kids. But to help our children heal as well, we need to be self-aware parents and give them awareness. So in Love Yourself, Heal Your Life 2-day workshop, we do things like self-acceptance, self-love, regulating emotions, releasing trapped emotions. But the one thing I really love out of the 2-day workshop, one of the favorite things that I love, besides the family dynamics, also where you get to release trapped emotion with your intimate family members, is the vision. So you want to tell them what we do there?
Yeah, we love to end off the program with the future you. How would you like you to be in all aspects of your life? So from relationships to career to
School.
Yeah, I mean, like
Friendship.
anything in your
Yeah.
life that you want to cultivate, a vision for a wonderful, wonderful life, what would it really be? And we spend some time writing affirmations. We write what we call a life story. What is your life story? Now, every time I've done it in the class, because we do sit in the class and we do these exercises, and we run 4 classes a year. I tell my coaching clients, don't just write it once a year. Write as often as possible when you feel inspired. And reading your life story, what you would like, is very empowering. I mean, you've come off the bat of spending a day and a half of releasing all your old limiting beliefs and all the emotional trauma. Why not end the workshop with a future you, the future you that you want to be? You know, not anything but the biggest, grandest, most wonderful version of yourself. So that's what we do. And I think it's a beautiful way of ending the 2-day workshop. But of course, there's a lot of love in the room. I have to say, if there's ever been a workshop that I've ever attended, the Love Yourself, Heal Your Life 2-day workshop makes you feel like you're on top of the world with your heart.
Absolutely.
You love, you're in a bubble. And a lot of people have come back after the 2 weeks and we meet again. They've said that they feel like they've been in this bubble and they don't want to leave. It's just too beautiful to leave. And how do we cultivate that afterwards? Well, we continue on with self-love. We stress it. We tell just about everyone, self-love is what heals every part of your life. It is the foundation for everything in your life. And we're not talking about vanity. Please, I've got to be really strict on this one because I got a little bit triggered the other day when I saw a video.
Self-love is not vanity and arrogance. That is actually fear. So maybe you want to tell them exactly what you mean.
Yeah, so
self-acceptance.
it's healthy self-acceptance. It's a continuous honoring of yourself. I mean, filling from your cup first. Now, I spoke about this in the previous episode that we did. You cannot pour into others with an empty cup. You cannot. It's not possible. You have resentment, you've got anger, frustration, all the negative emotions. What you really need to do is fill from your cup first. Now, it's not about being selfish. It's about taking the time out every day to do something that fills your cup. I don't care what it is. Maybe you want to go out to a coffee shop and have a coffee, and just sit there and journal. That's self-love. Maybe you want to go to the gym and exercise. That's self-love. There's a whole range of things, whatever you like to do. But I cannot stress enough that it's not about vanity. We're not here saying anything to be selfish and put yourself first and everybody else doesn't. No. You've got to practice that and your kids will follow that. Your kids will, maybe not initially. I have to tell you, when I first did it, they initially didn't follow me. But after doing it for so often, I see it. I've seen it recently. My kids have shown me, I guess you reap what you sow, right?
Absolutely. And I think just what I've seen observing you, Nance, with the healing that you've done in your own life, besides being a Heal Your Life workshop teacher, and how you've helped equip your children and give them more self-awareness, the ability to be more emotionally regulated. It's not easy. It's the toughest job on earth. I think to be CEO of 10 companies is easier than being a mother, let alone a mother of 4. So all I'm trying to say with that is healed parents do better in raising healed kids, and kids need to heal, otherwise they're not set up for success. And how we end the workshop, we spoke about vision. I just want to end that quote of Henry David Thoreau that says, "He who advances confidently in the direction of his dream." So first of all, there is a level of confidence in there, and we need our children to be confident more than anything else, not cocky. That's exactly what Nancy was saying, because that's insecure, unhealed, inferiority complexed people are cocky. So he who advances confidently in the direction of what? Of his dreams. So we do need to give children dreams, and where are they going to go and write a dream statement, a vision statement? They don't do that anywhere. So send them to a class where they can create a dream statement or story for their life. So he who advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life that he has imagined will meet with success, unexpected in common hours. And I think it's the endeavored, which is the persistence, the resilience, and will meet with success. And all we really want is children today are challenged more than ever with all the technology and the AI, and anything we can do to help support them to be confident, healthy, resilient, well-adjusted children with a vision for the future and an imagination that is not completely atrophied by technology and a device is the best gift we can give our children.
Absolutely. So if you are keen, putting it out there, we do have a Love Yourself, Heal Your Life class for teens, and that's in the October school holidays. So, I mean, like...
We have several classes, but you can
but the teens,
have a look at the website.
Yeah, the teens one's good.
Anytime you want to find it, just jump to the events on the website. Yeah.
I stopped thinking about that. Anyway, so I think that's a roundup, huh? What do you think?
Absolutely. So thank you for listening to us today, and I hope you got value out of it. If you did, please share this with friends, family, and otherwise, have a wonderful day and God bless.
Yeah, have an awesome day, and we'll see you next time on the Coaching Corner.
Got a good thing coming, and it's all I need.